So what is going on, guys? My name is Lethal and welcome to a brand new series on my channel. Now this is a series that I've kind of wanted to do for a while, and I hinted at in my previous videos on my smoke series. However, I just haven't had the motivation when it came to playing CS, and I was focusing on my other series on my channel. And you're probably wondering, what is this series? Kind of haven't got straight to the point. So without further ado, this new series is going to be covering all different types of strategies you can use on all 7 of the CSGO maps. Now this video today is just going to be kind of splitting down the 5 different strategies that I kind of have in mind. Now, I may have forgotten some, and if I have, please let me know in the comments. And if you would like me to cover them, then I would be more than happy to. So, what's going to happen is in today's video, I'm going to break down each of those 5, and then from next week, we're going to cover every single map and different strategies you can use to potentially beat your opponents. Whether you're a new player coming into the game, whether you're a player that just plays every so often, a casual player, or you're a person that sweats 12 hours a day, grinds, and tries their hardest to win at every cost or every opportunity. Hopefully, this helps you in some sort of way, and if it has, then perfect. So, without further ado, let's start covering the 5 different types of strategies. So the first type of strats we're going to be covering is what is known as a default. Now I want to kind of put a disclaimer out before we jump into the specific default strat. For this video and this video only, I'm going to be doing the overview of a certain map, so for Mirage, just to kind of explain the strats and like what they are basic. And then when we start jumping into different maps in each single week, I will then obviously show gameplay and show how the certain strats will look on an overview, and then show them what they're meant to look like in game. So it's a lot easier for people to see and figure out. But just for today's episode, we are going to just be working with an overhead view, and then, as I say, we'll transition into gameplay when we get into specific maps. So let's first of all jump into a default. Now, as I say, I'm going to use Mirage for this specific example, for all these different types of strats, and then next week you'll see what they look like in game, and we'll talk about it in more depth. So a basic default on Mirage is so first of all, a default is where you just send all 5 of your players to a specific part of the map to hold angles and to kind of just get information. It's just basically, if you've got no specific strat that you want to run, it's just a strat you will call just so you can kind of get some map control and just trying to figure out what the opposition is doing. So a normal default on Mirage looks something like this. You usually send a guy into Palace up here, you'll send a guy ramp, you'll send a guy mid, and you'll send a guy up B. Now the 5th player is usually can pretty much go into any of these other roles. Sometimes they can come under here to go underground. Sometimes they can come up mid with the other guy and help them take mid control, or sometimes you send another guy ramp to kind of help the ramp guy into push out into A. They usually don't double up Palace. It's very rare that you see a double Palace push unless you're on like an eco round and you're trying to do what is known as a waterfall strat, which is specific to certain maps. Waterfall strat is just when you flood everyone out of a certain spot to try and get a bomb plant. So usually there's you usually have the 4th guy kind of just tag on to what another part of the map. To kind of help. As I say, these are mainly used to get information, try and figure out what your opponents are doing, and obviously to kind of cancel out aggression. So that's what is known as a default. So the next sort of strategy that I'm going to show you is what is known as a contact play. Now this is going to be a lot easier to show in game next week when we cover Mirage. However, as I said previously, I'm just going to use the overview for now. Now contact plays can vary on what part of the map you do them to, but the principle is still the same regardless of any map and any place. Contact play is where you do not throw any grenades, any sort of utility, make any sort of sound, and on the first bit of contact from usually the player in front, you then all sprint out and attack a bomb site or attack a specific part of the map. So for this example, the most common one that I see, and the most common thing that I hear called in any sort of game, in any sort of map, specific Mirage, is a B contact play. Usually it's in the pistol round or an eco. It's a very common strat you'll hear. So what you do is you would just send, if we just mark 5 different dots there, you guys will all go up a B, walk when you usually get to about here, and then you just go like this into upper B until you hit or see an enemy. Now usually the enemies are either playing in the balcony, on truck, um,
on the site, the short guy, or the bench guy. Those 5 spots are usually the first ones you're going to encounter. As soon as you see those first guys, you just absolutely hit the gas and sprint onto the site. Try and get as many kills as possible. The main goal of contact plays, in my opinion, is to get the bomb plant. Pistol rounds, obviously, you have a high degree of winning them purely because it's a pistol versus pistol. Whereas on eco rounds, obviously, if you're running an upper B, you're probably going to get shredded by an M4 or an AUG or some sort of rifle. Um, if you're trying to do that push. So those you can do those plays for upper B, you can do those plays for mid. So as soon as you see mid, you will sprint down. But typically they're done for bomb sites. Specifically on Mirage, they are specifically done for bomb sites. Some maps you can get away with doing mid, but as I say, it's just where you have all 5 of your guys make no sound, throw no utility, and just try and make a play on a certain specific area of the map. So those are contact plays. So the next sort of play we are going to be covering is what is known as a pick play. Now, a pick play is basically is usually called off a default, and it's very similar to a default. So if you remember from the default part of this video, we usually send a guy up a B, can send a guy mid, we'll send a guy into ramp, we'll send a guy into B apps. Now, um, pick plays are usually, as I say, they're kind of just you're looking for an opportunity to whittle down numbers before you make a decision on the bomb site. So let's just say our fifth guy is coming underground. Now this underground guy calls to the mid guy that there is one on short, and the short guy could be making a push. Um, and he might also call there's a guy in window. So let's just say there is a guy. Actually, if we just quickly do that, we're going to go into our primary colors, and we'll make it blue just for the CTs. Oh, that's not very good. Let's change that color very so slightly. We'll make it all the way to dark blue. So, say they hear, or the underground guy calls, there's a guy window and there's a guy short, right? So he gets that call, or the mid guy gets that call, and now he's got to make a decision. And usually you will send your AWP mid on Mirage. Sometimes you can send them, like, depending on what they feel most comfortable with. Obviously they can go pretty much wherever. But say in our case, the mid guy or our mid AWPer is been relayed the information. There's a guy on short, a guy on window. He comes out to here. He takes a pick onto this guy in the window. Sorry for that arrow. And this window guy is now dead. Right? That is a pick play. We have picked off one of the enemies, and ultimately we have got a 4v5 situation. And then if you want to get more in depth, say this short guy decides to make a push to refrag that. So this short guy then has pushed up to here, and now he's going to try and fight this guy. We then can say this underground guy pushes up to here and makes a play onto that guy and then kills that guy, and then we go in a 3v5 situation. Um, so pick plays are just, as I say, where you have an opportunity to get a pick and then you start using numbers advantage to then make a decision on what bomb site you want to go. Um, and yeah, that is what is known as a pick play. So the next type of strategy that we're going to be covering is what is known as a set execute. Now, a set execute is usually called at the start of the round, and some people have an idea, or most in-game players will have an idea of when they want to pull these out, and they're usually used quite often when it comes to or when it comes to most games and most T sides, purely because they are very useful into getting control of the bomb site. So yeah, again, we're going to be on Mirage, and I will cover this in more depth next week when we do cover Mirage in full. But for this time being, I won't explain too much. I'll just explain the principle of a set execute. So to start off these rounds, let's say we want to hit the A bomb site. The A bomb site on Mirage is a very easy bomb site to hit, especially with an execute, because you can smoke off a lot of places, you can molly a lot of places, and you can ultimately get there very quickly. So usually for set execute, you will send 3 guys into ramp and 2 guys into palace. Now this can vary. Saying you want someone to watch your flank, you can get rid of one of these palace guys, and you can get a guy maybe going mid, maybe going underground. Just depends on what sort of way your in-game leader wants to call it. My personal preference would be 3 ramp, 1 palace. You have the underground guy. You have a guy go underground, and then when you do the set execute, you get this guy to hit connector or to pick off the guy short. But as I said, we'll get into that more next week. So for this example, let's just say we're going to send 2 palace, right? So set execute. All 3 of these guys are going to have smokes. All of these guys are going to have smokes and molotovs and flashes, right? So you will get your 3 guys to set up their smokes, right? You want one smoking here, which is the stairs position. You want guys smoking here or here. Depends what jungle smoke you want to throw. My personal preference is to throw this one purely for the fact that it covers more ground and it means the guy's connector cannot actually see anything if they're rotating them. And then you would usually smoke CT. So these three guys on ramp will be the that made space. These three guys on ramp will be the ones that will throw these smokes, and then usually the palace guys will be up here now, and they will molly under here. You'll get a guy ramp to molly here, and then you also get a guy to molly here, so that no CTs can get through. And then when you're out on the bomb site, you take out anybody that's playing or any of the corners. You take out anybody that's trying to refrag from CT, and that is what this execute is. Specific, you have specific people throwing specific smokes, specific mollies, specific flashes. You have people that you would usually do what is called dry running, where you don't have any bots, anybody in the server. It's just you and your team, and everybody knows exactly what they have to watch. You kind of drill it in, so it's just becomes second nature, and that is how defaults become so effective. The best teams in the world are known for their executes because they are so flawless when they run them. They know everybody knows a specific job, a specific place they have to look. That's why they are the best teams in the world. So yeah, that is a set execute. So the next sort of strategy we're going to be covering is what is known as a split push. Now, a split push, kind of given away in the name, is where you kind of split up your team to hit a bomb site from two, maybe three different angles to then ultimately overrun the defense. Because obviously the defense can only play usually with three people, depending on the bomb site. If they've rotated, it's obviously going to be more. So we're going to take, for example, the A site on Mirage and do a split push, because this is one of the most common split pushes you can do. So, the way usually you start off this round is you'll start off two into, or in my opinion, you'll send two ramp, one into palace, and then one, I would personally want to shove two guys underground. However, if you want to be different, you can send a guy top mid just so that you have two guys mid. But ultimately, they still will do the same thing. They will still come up this connector area. So what they will do is these guys ramp will push out of ramp. They will focus on taking the fights here. This guy at palace will come here, will focus on the fights here, and then these two will come up connector and they will clear jungle, the stairs, and ultimately you should be able to hit the bomb site. So if I just quick back up and take all the markings off and all the people, and we'll keep the mid guy. What will happen is once you do that execute, you'll have a guy. If I clear out actually every single one, if when you come when you do this split push, you'll get a guy usually here. You'll get a guy to push CT, maybe two depending on what you want to do. A guy in ramp, maybe a guy here. Just depends. As I say, depends on personal preference and teams. And that is basically how a split push will work. It's where you send where you, as I say, it gives away in the name, but you split push, push from different areas of the map to collapse onto one position. So that is what is known as a split push. So the next sort of play we're going to be covering is what is known as a fake. Now fakes are going to be a lot easier to show next week when I do Mirage specifically. However, I can still show you the same principle on what a fake is. Now kind of is given away in the name. We want to fake that we're going to a certain bomb site to then ultimately hit the other one. So for Mirage specifically, we're going to do a fake onto, or we want to going to hit B, so we're going to do a fake onto it. Now we're going to start off with the CT setup because it's easier to understand what the CTs will be thinking to ultimately sell the fake. So what you're going to do for a CT side setup, usually have a guy in truck, or a guy bench, depending on obviously preference. A guy in short, guy window, or he could be playing connector. Guy on A site, usually playing quite close to Palace, and a guy CT. As I say, these setups can change depending on players, depending on certain game and what's happened. But usually this is just kind of like a standard setup. So we want, as I say, we want to sell the illusion that we are going to hit the A bomb site. Now, what I would recommend to any in-game leader is to hit the A bomb site a couple times just to plant to the CT's mind that you have hit it and you're not afraid to hit it. So when you ultimately do try a fake, they're going to buy it a bit more because they know you've done it before. So, for a fake to work this, what you do is you'll send two, maybe three players up a B. To sell the fake fully, I would recommend you send two players, including the bomb. But the specific instruction you give them is do not show yourself. Do not peek anything. Do not try and take a fight. Just sit in a corner and listen to information and just keep relaying that information to your team. So, oh, I hear one short. The guy short is pushing quite close to mid. He might be peeking mid. Just keep relaying the information so your in-game leader who might be with you or who might be on the other side, with the other guys setting up the smokes, know specifically where all these players are and can sort of just kind of judge what needs to happen after you throw the smokes. The other three guys will be in ramp. Those were terrible representations. Probably guy there, and a guy there in the three smoke positions. So what will happen is this: your three guys will throw their smokes. One will land stairs, one will land jungle, and one will land CT. I would recommend you send a guy, maybe two, out to properly sell this fake. So you have a guy come out ramp, you have a guy come out, you have two guys come out ramp, they molly there, and they take the fights here and here, right? So once that is done, I'll quickly take one on. So they come out, they take the fights. Now what you're hoping from the CTs is this, is you're hoping that this guy jungle decides to move to here or even here to try and help his team. So that means there's a guy taking out mid, and you hope this guy short gets a bit um depending on the comms, gets very frantic and decides that he jumps all the way to mid and goes here, so he is no longer on short. This then will lead your guys up a B to then be able to take on the site. This guy Truck would, I think, in my opinion, would move. He would move to a more defensive position, especially if he's on his own. So he would probably move to back site or maybe just hide bench, and then this will lead for your two guys up a B to, in my opinion, just contact it. Contact the play and just wait until you get information. And then if they see the guy, it's 2v1. Even if one person dies, they can still get the kill. Then by that time, you send two guys out here. One of your other guys, one of these A guys would have run back to B apps to support the other guy. You're in a 4v4. Say you did lose guy, and most of the CTs are on the A site. You have got a free bomb site, B bomb site, and you can set up and make a play. I know this is a bit chaotic with all the dots, but hopefully you did get the gist of it. It's just the whole point of a fake is to get more people to move to the wrong bomb site so it frees up the other bomb site for your players, and should mean a very easy take. So that is how you fake a bomb site. So the last strategy I'm going to cover is what is known as a rush. Now, a rush can be of numerous types of things, but as it gives away in the name, it is rushing. You're trying to get to a position as quickly as possible, hopefully catching the CTs off guard. That means hopefully you get a free kill, but the principle is you want to take a place as quickly as possible. Now, the most common sort of rush you have on Mirage, which will, as I say, I've said numerous times, we're going to dive more into next week, is a upper B rush. This is where you just send 5 people out of the B apps to take the site. Now, usually you would send people would jump into truck, people would jump there, and specific people would take short, would take the market area, and ultimately you would swarm the B bomb site. The whole principle, as I say, is to take a position as quickly as possible and to take the CT side by surprise. These are very 50-50 plays if they are executed very well. You can kind of build on rush as well. You can make sure you throw smokes out molotovs to help you take the site. If they're pulled off, they are able to be executed very well, able to get you some pretty nice rounds. So I want to say thank you guys for tuning in for this video. This has been the CSGO Different Strategies. As it's been mentioned in this video, next week we're going to start every single guide to every single map and different strategies. I'm going to be covering all the principal strats we have covered in this in more detail on Mirage next week, and then from there we're going to jump into a new map every single week. Over the next 7 weeks we'll cover all 7 maps. As well as that, we'll be in time to cover Cash. Cash is going to be previewed in New York at the end of the month, so that will probably be featured at some point in this series. But hope you guys have a great day. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you would like what you've seen here and want to share it around, it would be amazing. Other than that, as I say, have a great day, guys, and I'll catch you next time.